Imagine a defendant on trial for murder who suddenly jumps up and starts singing in front of the jury. His lawyers would have to seriously consider an insanity defense. But as crazy as it sounds, that's pretty much exactly what we do on Yom Kippur. We're sitting there in shul, in synagogue, begging for our very lives, for a judgment of life for the coming year. And repeatedly during the prayer services, we get up and start singing. How can we do that? One of the answers is as follows. For any individual, nothing is guaranteed. Speaking for myself, I have no way of knowing whether, God forbid, this year there will be a lightning bolt with my name on it, or whether I'll be one of the Harrys that, God willing, gets to survive until next year. But for the Jewish people, the opposite is true. There is a guarantee. God has told us the Jewish people will survive year after year. And we're so happy knowing that we're going to get that communal judgment that we rise up and we sing together. But what if you could enter synagogue, enter shul on Yom Kippur, and change the odds? What if you could stack the odds in your favor, increasing your chance of a good judgment, changing from a no guarantee individual judgment to a better communal judgment? Wouldn't you jump at that opportunity? Fortunately, the sages teach us that there is a way to do that. If you make yourself as important as possible to as many people as possible, you can go from getting one of those no guarantee individual judgments to one of those all but guaranteed communal judgments. Because God will be forced, in a sense, to consider all those people who are relying on you, all those people you're supporting, all those people that you're helping. And by becoming more communally minded and oriented and involved, you're reminding yourself that it's important to use the abilities and talents that God gave you to help others. The sages tell us that when Moses, was unsuccessfully trying to convince God to let him into the promised land, one of his arguments was, God, strip me of the leadership. Let Joshua, Yehoshua, be the leader. I'll just stay in the back of the synagogue. I'll be a regular guy. I'll tend my little crop and obey the various laws that can only be observed in Israel. And God said, no, you can't do that. You can't be a hermit. You'd still be Moshe. You'd still have to use your wondrous talents to help your brethren. And we're reminding ourselves that although typically we only get judged on our individual mitzvahs and sins, we're also judged if there are communal sins or misdeeds that we could have prevented, but we didn't. And we get benefits in our asset column if there are mitzvahs that we helped other people do. Now, hopefully, after hearing this, you'll race to sign up for all sorts of communal matters, to make yourself more important to more people. And that's great. But remember that you also have to keep your foot on the brake, the family brake. There's a reason that the Jewish alphabet starts with Aleph and then Beis. Aleph means first. Beis is bias, house. Your house comes first. You've got to make sure to balance properly, to juggle properly. You can't help others outside your house out at the expense of those in your house.